Well, good morning, City Church family and friends. October the 26th, we're in our series, Overcoming Deception in the End Times. So what we must understand is that if you look at the Bible in the holistic understanding from beginning to end, the enemy is weaving this tapestry of deception that goes through all the biblical narrative, all the way to the very crescendo of the very end, as we see the last generation before the coming of the Lord and the final dealing with Satan. Yes, ultimately at the end of the 1,000 years of millennial reign. But we see this tapestry of deception that actually crescendos, if you would, or it is at its greatest height at the very end. And that the deception will become very global and almost in a way that it's ridiculous when you look at it in Scripture going, how could we be that deceived, or how could the world be that deceived? And I want to circle back to the verse that I used on Tuesday, Colossians 2, verse 8. Don't let anyone capture you, think of that, capture you, prisoner, with empty philosophies and high-sounding nonsense that come from human thinking and from the spiritual powers of this world, meaning the demonic, rather than your mind, your thinking being captured by Christ. And so in this, I want to just kind of lift out these ideas that you are captured with empty philosophies, high-sounding nonsense that come from human thinking. Folks, that's exactly where we are at today, where especially because we see this as a generational thing that begins to, be greater in the next generation, that the young people especially think of not all, no, I'm not just blanketing all, but even thinking of a lot of the young people in our college campuses around America and the utter nonsense that they are gravitating to, believing in, the philosophies that just come from human thinking, and they are empty and high sounding, meaning high trending. Everything in the culture says this is what you need to be thinking right now. And they're gravitating to that. Why is that happening so easy? Now, I want you to understand that even though that's always been true, it has never been more true than now. And I can even look back in my lifetime. I'll be 54 years old next month. And looking back in my lifetime, even when I was young, growing up as a kid, that a lot of people, if not most of the people I grew up with in high school, they were not necessarily Christians, believers, or even born again, but they had a God consciousness. And what you have to understand, there is a void of faith, a void that is created in our culture. Don't pray, don't believe in this, don't read the Bible. And what has happened in this vacuum of where there's no faith, the enemy comes in because people need something to believe in. And what ultimately happens by demonic influence is as people, especially in our young people, begin to gravitate and believe in things that are nonsense. And we must allow ourselves to release the truth of who God is, the truth of who Jesus is, not just try to appease people and to be politically correct or even just so saturated with grace and love that we negate the truth that our culture so desperately needs in this hour.